In this video, we're going to take a look at the Kanban board and explore all the filters, buttons, and tools you have to manage your tasks. Let's take a look at the top filter bar in the Group Task By filter. This is how we change our lanes. Right now we're on the approval status lane, but if we wanted to look at priority, we can change it and start editing task priority right here. One of the great features about Orbital is you can extend this Group Task By option by adding your own custom fields. So let's go add a custom field called risk and then start managing our task data in this new field we created. So we'll head over to the custom fields screen here, and we're going to add this risk field with 3 options. And when we add this field, they'll apply to all tasks, and you'll see that as a new option in the Kanban board. I would note that field types like text field and text area won't show up on the Kanban. It needs to be a field type with an option, like a dropdown or a checkbox. So now we can go and find our new risk field. And since we just added this field, none of our tasks have a risk setting. So when we start dragging them, we can immediately start changing the risk category for these tasks. This is really important if you want to extend Orbital to fit some specific problem inside your organization, or if your client is having a problem and you need to track a very specific piece of data, you can create that field and start tracking it along with your other custom fields here like priority or approval. All right, let's move on to the preferences option. Hop back over to priority here. We have my tasks, and that will show only the current users logged in. So whichever user is logged in, their tasks that they have created. So if you check that, you'll see just your own tasks. This is handy if you're an admin and have read access to every task on your team. You might not want to see their task right away. Or if you've granted access to a team member to have read all, and they just want to see my task, they can use that option. Next is the hide uncategorized lane, which is this one over here. If we aren't working with these uncategorized tasks, we can hide them. And the last preference here is the closed task preferences. So we can show all, hide the closed ones, or only show closed tasks. And the way closed custom field works is a task is closed, we can mark that here and filter it out if we don't want to see that. So if you have 20 or 30 tasks and 10 of them are closed and you don't care about those right now, and you want to keep those published in your task custom post type, you can just set that custom field to close and then hide them, and you don't have to worry about them. That helps you not have to trash tasks if you don't want to, or if you don't want to have to add some other type of taxonomy to manage it that way. But you could if you wanted to. Next is the categories and tags taxonomy filter. So when you create your taxonomy for Orbital, you'll start to see those pop up here in your options for filtering. And you can see which tasks have those categories. And tags work the same way. Next we have our assignee, where we can search by username or email. And when we select this, so this would be my login here, I can see the task that I'm assigned right here. So if you have a certain user that you want to see what their workload looks like, you can quickly go see what they're working on right here, or what they're supposed to be working on. Let's clear that filter back out. And then the last filter we have is the parent task filter. So this allows you to show only certain parent tasks. And on the Kanban board, we don't render child tasks. We only render parent tasks. So let's go find our safety training task. Filter that so we're just working with this. We can move it quickly, see different risk here. This is a high risk project. Hop in between lanes. But let's talk a little bit about the child tasks underneath this. I'm going to clear this filter out. So let's have this one and this one. So if you'll notice this blue border, this denotes that this parent task has child task or subtasks underneath it. And if there is no border, it is just a single task with no subtasks or child tasks under it. So when we click this View Details button, it's going to pop in this off canvas tray where we're going to have additional information about this task. So let's briefly talk about what we have here. We have our task ID, different buttons to take us to different screens where we have our read-only viewer, our task edit screen, which will drop you into the Gutenberg editor, or if we want to view this on the front end, we can. We have our author, our status, priority, and certain fields that you need to change quickly. You can come and change it right here from the off canvas, or you can hop back over and drag it in the Kanban. It's up to you. There's a notification option where we can subscribe to notifications. There's a start date and due date. If we want to change those right here, we can. And we can also change the assignee by clicking this pencil and then searching for the user. And then giving that person the assignee role for that specific task. We've got % complete and our completion checkbox, and then our approval drop down here where we can change the approval status. Next, you'll see this accordion here, and this is the post content. So we're bringing in this task's post content from Gutenberg into this description accordion here, and you can see all the data about that task right away. We'll close that accordion and then see our subtasks. So these are child tasks underneath this parent. So this parent is our safety training task, and we have different types of subtasks underneath it. And you'll notice here we have the completion checkbox for these child tasks. So we can quickly complete or reset a child task. Now let's talk a little bit about the completion workflow here, because this is really important for the Kanban, and later on you'll see this same view in the timeline. So if we set this to incomplete, it's going to tell us that there are 7 child tasks that are completed, and it's saying, hey, what do you want to do with these? You just set the parent to incomplete. What do you want to do with the children or the subtasks, whatever you want to call those? You can unmark the parent only, reset the subtask, or reset all. So let's reset all. Click continue. And now when we close this and hop back over to the completion field, we'll see that safety training is in progress. Now, here's what also is pretty cool. If we drag this, it's going to run that same workflow again. It's going to pop this out and say, hey, what do you want to do with those 7 incomplete subtasks? Well, let's complete all of them. So you can see that as you work with Orbital, everything's connected, and the completion and approval logic is really important, and I've spent a lot of time working on the logic on how that's going to work. So if we set this to incomplete, we can just reset the subtasks. Now you'll see that the completion on the parent stays completed, but the subtasks get reset. And then if we reset this here and close, it's going to hop back over to the In Progress tab. Now I'd like to talk about a few quality of life enhancements that I've added to Orbital. And let's start with the parent task filter. If you have parent tasks selected, those are going to stay at the top of the dropdown because those are selected. They're not going to be hidden. As you see, I've got a lot of tasks here. It would be a pain to have to go down and find them. So they're stored at the top. That's really nice. Next, you can rearrange these by grabbing the drag handle and moving them however you want. We can rename the fields, and on refresh, everything's going to stay the same because we're writing that to the database. Let's change that back. And finally, if we want to order things in a specific way, let's say just like this. And we want to refresh and keep that order, like our low priority needs to be at the top. We're going to preserve the state of the order for each user, and that also is stored in the database for that user's profile. So if we drag this one to the top and refresh, it stays at the top. If we drag this one and then bring this one in right here, you'll see 2726 and 4505 persist on refresh. Pretty nice. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you see that you can really get a handle of where your projects stand. You have the power to extend the Kanban board, filter, see all the data, see who has been assigned a task. Your approval, completion workflow is all at the click of a button here in the view details or by dragging and dropping, and everything is related, like with the completion flow and how our parent and child tasks are completed with our off-canvas completion flow logic. The next video will be about the timeline view, so stay tuned to learn more about the Gantt chart. See you in the next one.